Hi. You've probably heard the name BTS before, the Korean boy band that took the world by storm. The group with 26 Guinness World Records, multiple Grammy nominations, and Billboard #1 hits. Yeah, that BTS. For those who don't know them well yet,
here we are, BTS!
BTS is a South Korean group consisting of 7 members: RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. And today we are going to get to know them a little, or rather you are, because I already know them. The name BTS is derived from their Korean name Bangtan.
BTS is short name of the Bangtan, and Bangtan means black or black, and Sonyeondan means group of boys.
And the name symbolizes the group's goal to deflect societal stereotypes, criticism, and expectations that basically aim at the youth like bullets. So in short, BTS stands for protecting the values, dreams, and ideals of the younger generation. Since their first international success, the acronym is often explained as Beyond the Scene, representing growth and overcoming boundaries. From 2020 onwards, the band was everywhere. On the radio, in fashion stores, the albums on every shelf. You simply couldn't escape them. But who exactly is this band? Why did they suddenly appear? And how is it possible that a band of 7 Koreans dominate the world charts? And why specifically them? Let's have a closer look. Before we can talk about why BTS became so big, we need to address something that many media outlets leave out, and that's BTS shouldn't have had a chance in the first place. Now hear me out. The group debuted in 2013 with a song called No More Dream, followed by a series of songs in which they've criticized the intense societal pressure on Korean youth. Due to the established school system in Korea, many young people have little free time or freedom to develop themselves and follow their dreams.
제가 없어요. 수험생이 무슨 하면서 뭔가를 하고 싶어도 너는 지금은 그냥 공부만 해야 돼라고 하니까 별로 그냥 수험 생활을 하면서 그냥 저는 제 자신이 있는 거죠 뭐.
They face expectations so high that many only see one way to escape the pressure, and that is suicide.
Among young South Koreans, suicide has been the #1 cause of death for the past 11 years. According to findings released Wednesday by Statistics Korea, suicide was the main cause of death in 2017 among those aged 9 to 24.
Unfortunately, South Korea has one of the highest suicide rates among teenagers and young adults worldwide. BTS spoke about this pressure multiple times and often faced criticism for lyrics that defied societal norms. But it wasn't just their lyrics that caused difficulties. When BTS was formed, the K-pop industry was in the hands of the big 3 labels, SM, YG, and JYP Entertainment, much like the Western market where Sony, Universal, and Warner Music lead the industry. The 3 labels weren't just successful, they controlled the market. They had financial resources for constant visibility, they had the best slots on music shows, and the strongest relationships with any media outlet. And most importantly, they had influence. They decided which groups became relevant.
대형 기획사는 한번 밀면 엄청 많이 밀어주니까 기사 같은 것도 약간 더 잘 써달라고 해주고 기사도 약간 되게 많이 내주고 소속사 이름이 같이 나오면 아무래도 좀 더 뜨게 되니까.
보면 SM이나 3대 기획사 출신들 일단 나오자마자 주목도가 별로 인기도 없고 사람들이 잘 모르는데도 불구하고 무조건 1위 찍잖아요. 그런 거 보면 대형 기획사가 무조건 유리한 것 같고.
Big Entertainment, the label of BTS, now known as HYBE, was not part of that elite.
이제 방탄소년단 같은 경우에는 기획사도 작은 기획사다 보니까 힘이 없어서 언론에서도 큰 힘을 발휘하고 있지 않다고 생각을 합니다.
they were very much at the bottom. They had no capital, no network, and no influence whatsoever. So BTS didn't just start without an advantage, they started with a systemic disadvantage.
한국 언론이나 한국 대중에 별로 그다지 알려지지 않은 이유는 무엇이라고 생각하세요?
대기업의 횡포랑 비슷하고 생각합니다.
This meant while other groups had guaranteed performances on major industry shows to promote their songs, BTS often received rejections, and sometimes they were only allowed to perform if someone else had cancelled.
저 당시에는 예, 우리가 막 방송을 마음대로 못 깔 때예요. 방송을 막 사람 다 차 있으면 우리 못 나오고 그럴 때도 있었어.
유지도가 없으니까 그 다음에 안 나올 거 아니에요? 야 그냥 그러지 말고.
And not every performance they had was broadcast. Sometimes they were edited out because they were not important enough. And this is crucial to understand. Music shows in Korea, like Inkigayo or Music Bank, they were essential for success back then. Not optional, essential. The key to BTS was RM, a teenager who started out as an underground rapper. Lyrically strong, socially conscious, and someone who doesn't mince words.
너와 내가 가진 이 파워 적을 뽑지 않기 위해서라도 싸워 무관심한 국민이란 말도 아까워 30년
This is where the actual system break begins. Bangtan, the founder of Big Hit, didn't see RM as a K-pop idol in the traditional sense. He saw the artist and he bet everything on him.
저는 RM의 공개곡을 처음 들었던 순간이 아직도 생생합니다. 주제를 다루는 사고의 깊이와 언어 사용의 유려함, 랩을 한국말로 풀어가는 창조적인 방식 등이 17세라는 나이가 무색할 만큼 뛰어나서
가져가줄 순 없어 내 시간 추억들 결국 너잖아 네 인생을 다 가져가는 것 나태와 슬픈 그리고 게으름 널 유혹하는 것
And he made a decision that was deemed counterproductive in the industry at the time.
일종의 사명감 같은 게 생겼던 게 사실입니다.
He didn't want a group that just fit into the existing system. He wanted a band that could express themselves and tell their own story.
그들에게 딱 한 가지만을 요구했습니다. 방탄소년단의 음악은 방탄소년단 내면에 있는 이야기가 되어야 한다는 것이었죠.
Big Hit couldn't push BTS with money, media presence, or influence, so something else had to make a difference, and that was credibility. And when you have no structure, you must build trust. And trust isn't built through perfection, it's built through relatability. BTS had a chance because they had everything to lose. They could rely on the system, so they had to create something of their own. And this is why what looks like marketing for other groups was simply organic for BTS. BTS wasn't an accident, they are a consequence of the system. When people talk about BTS today, one word comes up constantly, and that is ARMY. ARMY is the official name for BTS fans, and not just because they are as numerous as an army, but ARMY stands for Adorable Representative MC of Youth. And when you combine both BTS and ARMY logos, they form a shield, and their light stick looks like a bomb, and that signifies that ARMY is an integral part of BTS.
They're like the main promotional vehicle of BTS, to the point where they were buying billboards for them in major cities.
I know.
In the media, it often sounds like ARMY just happened, like they sprouted out of thin air, but ARMY wasn't the result of success. ARMY was the prerequisite for it. So, as we discussed, BTS didn't have the same head start like others did. What they lacked was reach. And in the music industry, reach isn't optional, it is vital for survival. The solution wasn't to scream louder, conform, or wait for breakthrough. The solution was hard work, dedication, direct communication, and vulnerability. While other labels saw social media as a mere add-on and often banned their idols from using it freely, Big Hit used it as their main channel.
방탄소년단은 데뷔 초부터 소셜미디어를 통해 팬들과 소통했다. 연습, 녹음 과정, 평범한 일상을 팬들과 공유했다. 그러한 소통을 통해 팬과 방탄소년단 공통의 음악적 서사가 만들어졌다.
BTS didn't use social media like marketing, they used it more like daily life, and they showed behind the scenes insights, exhaustion, insecurity, and the process, not just the result. And this is where something you simply can't plan is born, and that is a bond. From the beginning, the fans weren't passive. They saw that BTS was systematically excluded and took matters into their own hands. Not just in Korea, but also internationally. And therefore, ARMY became BTS' most powerful marketing tool. Fans translated content, explained cultural backgrounds, music videos, and spread the music where BTS themselves couldn't reach. Both international and Korean armies called up radio stations to request BTS songs, and when the songs would be played, they sent gift baskets as a thank you.
They tirelessly kept requesting songs on the radio, and then there are those record stores in malls where sales are counted for the Billboard charts. The fans would stop by those every day.
They bought billboards for advertising, and they engage in social work, and they raise money for charities, and always in BTS's name, so the band would be associated with something positive.
Really remarkable. They wanted to say thank you to me for something, and they organized something like charitable in my name. Why isn't everyone's fans doing this? Can you imagine if everyone's fans thanked them by organizing charity in their name?
BTS and Big Hit acknowledge ARMY's work to this day, stating the fans are the reason the band has made it so far.
There's 100% of success, and I'll give 50, I'll give half to the ARMYs.
We have our fans, and they purple us, and with that, we can't get anything over.
7명을 대변인으로서 유엔 총회까지 세워주신 거예요.
저희는 지금의 방탄소년단은 없었을 거예요.
근데 아미와 함께라면 그 목표도 이룰 수 있을 것 같아요, 진짜.
At this point, you could say, oh, okay, strong fan base, good timing, and clever use of social media. But that doesn't really explain why people stay, does it? Proximity alone doesn't sustain a career. Content does. Almost since the beginning of K-pop, content was centrally controlled. Lyrics, image, behavior, everything was curated.
진짜 인형처럼 행동을 해야 돼요. 이렇게 해라, 저렇게 해라, 모든 게 통제당하죠.
Members explained, when we're promoting as Infinite, L says almost nothing. The company gave him the concept of not talking.
And don't get me wrong, BTS is not exempt from that, but they were given a level of freedom that many of their peers didn't have, and that was writing their own lyrics. From the debut, it wasn't about fantasy. They laid the groundwork with the Too Cool for School album, in which they touched on themes that go beyond the typical K-pop songs. They talked about school pressure, self-doubt, fear and uncertainty, depression, and a system that tells young people what to think. This wasn't just a coincidence, there was a clear stance.
They were positioned as a direct counterculture voice against the pristine, highly curated image of early 2010 K-pop.
BTS was a lot different from the core. They weren't just performers, they co-wrote, co-produced, and were actively involved in the concept development. And Bang Taehyuk recognized early on that he could turn RM and Suga into the classic idols, as both came from the underground rap scene.
To ensure commercial viability, the agency expanded the roster, creating a hybrid entity designed to merge underground rap credibility with the synchronized precision of idol choreography.
They already had something rare in the idol system, their own voice. They didn't just want to be famous, they had some things to say. And BTS didn't just write the songs for their fans, they wrote from the same reality. And that ended up being the difference between simple consumption and true identification.
가사에 보면 학생들이 공감할 만한 그런 가사가 많이 있어요. 막.
With the most beautiful moment in life series 2015-16, BTS experienced the first major success in South Korea.
멜론 뮤직 어워드 올해의 앨범상 수상자 방탄소년단. 네, 수상자는 방탄소년단.
They had won a Daesang, which is one of the big music awards, and usually only a group from the big three companies had won it previously. And the lyrics of their music wasn't just about school anymore, they were about global societal pressure, inequality, and a longing for a better world. And these themes aren't Korean, they are human, and fans worldwide understood the message and could relate to it. Later came the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself eras, not as a marketing slogan, but as a thematic conclusion. After criticizing the system, the question became, how do we live within it?
A physically manifested internal distress of realizing that one must fundamentally love themselves before attempting to love another. Their cultural influence subsequently transcended music entirely. When they were invited to the United Nations General Assembly in September 2018, where RM delivered the iconic Speak Yourself address.
Find your name and find your voice by speaking yourself. And our belief that true love first begins with loving myself.
Their messages are the reason fans often say BTS will find you when you need them the most. They help you learn to love yourself and will teach you self-worth. In hindsight, 2017 looks like the turning point, but in reality it was just the moment something became visible that had existed for a long time. Their song DNA hit the Billboard 100 not through massive promo but through fan activity and organic reach. And BTS became the first K-pop group to achieve this. In 2017, they won the Billboard Award for Top Social Artist, an award decided solely by fan voting, and they beat out Justin Bieber, who had won the award for 7 consecutive years.
And the Billboard Music Award goes to BTS!
That wasn't just hype, that was structured teamwork. Love Yourself Tear became the first fully Korean language album to reach #1 on the US Billboard charts, and that challenged a general assumption that global relevance required English language. And perhaps that's why the band and fans, despite their success, still face hostility and racist remarks from Western media. Today, the band is so influential that their music and tours contribute billions to South Korea's GDP.
According to Hyundai Research Institute, a local think tank, the economic impact of BTS in industries of tourism, retail, music and art stands at an annual average of $3.9 billion.
BTS is one of the most famous acts in the world. They have over 20 Guinness records and over 350 major awards. Time magazine named them Next Generation Leaders. But what did they do differently? They didn't conform. They took the audience and told them their own story. With hard work, honesty and conviction, they exceeded all expectations. BTS didn't go global because they did everything right. BTS went global because they did everything real. But let's be clear, the path wasn't just difficult. It was oftentimes really cruel. They were constantly diminished by an industry that didn't want them at their table. The world told them they didn't belong. They didn't just survive the hate, they outlasted it. No one opened doors for them, but they became what they are today because they stood at the door, kept knocking until the world could no longer ignore them. They are the proof that authenticity and resilience can dismantle even the most rigid systems. So what's happening now? After a hiatus of several years and completing their mandatory military service, the band is back. They are about to release their brand new album, followed by a sold-out world tour. And they are already breaking new records before the first note has even been played.